Hans-Georg Gadamer. Can we ever escape our historical bias? Hans-Georg Gadamer was a preeminent German philosopher born in 1900. A student of Martin Heidegger, he developed philosophical hermeneutics, the study of interpretation and understanding. His magnum opus, Truth and Method, 1960, challenged the dominance of scientific method in the humanities, arguing that truth is something experienced through dialogue and tradition rather than through objective detachment. Gadamer lived through the turbulent history of 20th-century Germany, informing his belief in the importance of historical consciousness and open conversation. He remained a respected figure in global philosophy until his death at the age of 102. Understanding is not just a method used in the humanities, it is the fundamental way we exist in the world. Traditionally, hermeneutics was seen as a set of rules for interpreting texts, but Gadamer transformed it into a philosophical inquiry into the nature of understanding itself. He argued that we never approach a text with a blank slate, instead, we always bring prejudices or pre-understandings rooted in our historical context. Far from being obstacles, these prejudices are the very conditions that make understanding possible, providing the initial framework for engagement. This perspective shifts the focus from finding an objective meaning to recognizing understanding as an ongoing, productive event. We do not simply recover a past meaning, we participate in a process where the past and present interact. Every act of interpretation is also an act of application, as we relate what we learn to our own contemporary situation. When we engage with a text from the past or a person from a different culture, we encounter a horizon different from our own. A horizon represents the range of vision possible from a particular vantage point. Understanding occurs through a fusion of horizons, Horizontverschmelzung, where our own perspective and that of the other are brought into dialogue. This is not about one side winning, but about creating a new, broader horizon that encompasses both. In this process, our own pre-understandings are tested. We must be open to being told something, which requires a willingness to put our certainties at risk. This dialogical model emphasizes that truth is not something we possess, but something that happens to us in the encounter. It suggests that we can never achieve a final understanding, as every fusion of horizons opens new questions, embracing an inclusive and meaningful conversation with the world. We are always situated within a tradition that shapes our thinking, a concept Gadamer called effective historical consciousness, Wirkungsgeschichtliches Bewusstsein. This means recognizing that the history of a text's influence is part of its meaning. We cannot stand outside of history to observe it objectively, we are always inside the stream of tradition. This realization challenges the Enlightenment ideal of the autonomous, rational subject who can judge everything from a neutral standpoint. Instead, it suggests our very ability to think is enabled by the historical linguistic community to which we belong. Being conscious of this historical effect allows us to be more critical of our assumptions while respecting the authority of tradition. Tradition is not a static burden but a living conversation. By acknowledging our historical situatedness, we gain a realistic sense of our limits, remembering that understanding is always a finite achievement grounded in a past that continues to speak to the present. Gadamer's hermeneutics has profoundly influenced theology, law, literary theory, and political philosophy. His emphasis on tradition and dialogue provided a powerful alternative to technical and scientific approaches. In theology, his work helped scholars understand how ancient texts speak to contemporary believers. In legal theory, his ideas about interpretation have been used to analyze how judges interpret law in changing social contexts. Furthermore, his debates with Jürgen Habermas and Jacques Derrida were major intellectual events that clarified the relationship between tradition, critique, and deconstruction. While some accused him of being too conservative, his focus on the openness of dialogue and the infinity of the unsaid has inspired many seeking to build bridges across cultural and ideological divides.